Today, boys and girls, we are going to learn our very first chord. And that chord is the E chord. It's a nice and easy chord that requires one fret and two fingers that are side by side on strings that are right next to each other. So it should be nice and easy. If you remember your fret work from our first lesson, today we are going to be dealing with, here's your nut, here's your first fret and your second fret, and we're just going to be dealing with the second fret today. The E chord is that simple. You're just going to have your fingers in the same little rectangle here. And the E chord is very simple. I'm going to get Maggie to come on up and focus in on my fretboard here. And if you look at my fretboard again, our second fret, and of course you remember our strings, E, A, D, G, B, E. We are going to be dealing with our pointer finger, that's this guy right here, and we are going to be touching the A string. And I'm going to actually be side by side on this chord, so I'm actually not going to be in the middle. I'm going to slide it a little closer to the top of the edge of the fret. Okay? The second finger I'm going to use is my middle finger, and that middle finger is going to go on the D string, which is right below it. You can see I've got to make sure that my fingers are touching it on the point. Okay, touching it on the point. I'm not pressing it super hard, but I'm touching it on the point, and the key is to get this string right on this metal bar, and that's what gives it its tone. Okay, so you got those pressed down. So it's the second and third string, the A and the D string, on the second fret, and that makes your E chord. And I believe that's an E minor. Okay, it sounds like this. Right? If without touching, see, that doesn't sound good, but this sounds good. And that's your E chord. Now, there's lots of good songs that have the E chord in it, or variation of the E chord, and we'll learn we'll learn E major. We'll learn lots of different versions of the E chord this year, but this is the first little easy chord that we're going to learn. And one of the first songs that I ever learned how to play that has the E chord in it is a song called Rockin' in the Free World. It's a song by Neil Young, and it sounds like this, and it's a really good heavy E. Now, I'm also going to be playing a couple of other chords, but don't worry about those. You're just focusing on the E, and you can kind of hear it's got a bassy tone to it. Okay, it sounds like this. So you can see it's kind of got that grungy sound to it, but it's really cool sound. Alright, Maggie, you can back up to that chair. So when you're practicing this, I don't want you playing Rockin' in the Free World. You're not there yet. So what you want to do is you want to practice your strum patterns, some real basic strum patterns. You want kind of that 4-beat pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want to start off. Or you can do a 2-beat pattern, which is, or you can do nice and basic, or you can jazz it up a little bit and start doing not only the downs, but you also can strum up. Okay, so you can do the kind of double it up, or but the main thing is making sure that these strings are pushed down enough that they're touching this. You want to make sure that this string touches this metal. You don't even have to press it all the way to the wood, but you have to make it touch that metal. Okay? And again, if you remember from class, one of the easy ways to check to make sure you've got a true tone. You don't want that, you want that. You don't want any of that or that rattle. Okay? Okay? There is your E chord.